and ain't no wannabes here. With some not so nice advice for your writing career. To be clear, no punches will be pulled, but the punch may be spiked. How they like before they get on the mic. To my left, we got the mighty Mer Lafferty. And if I piss her off, believe me, she'll come after me. And her co-host, Matt Evan Wallace, on the right. Yes, she may be half as hype as she can take him in a fight. So settle in, folks, buckle in and boot up. Time to meddle in a way to make your writer shut up. It's hard work, but the perk is that it's fun and exciting. Facebook will still be there when you're done writing. Ditch Diggers! Ditch Diggers!
Coming to you live from Morgan Freeman's empty trophy room, it is the Ditch Diggers with Mer Lafferty and Matt Wallace. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Mer.
How's it going?
It's going well. I appreciate the fact that while Morgan has what I would describe as a plethora of trophies, we're in an empty trophy room.
He has the empty trophy room to hold all the trophies he didn't win.
That's hauntingly beautiful. It's like when I learned the definition of the literal translation of karaoke.
I don't know what that is.
I thought it means empty orchestra.
Oh, okay.
That was also a bit on How I Met Your Mother, which is such a sad reference. But anyway, I thought he would have room to keep himself humble. But he's just
well, that's true. Well, I mean, yes, that's what it is. I mean, I think we're saying the same thing.
Oh, we're semantics now is what we're doing?
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know, they struck me as diametrically opposed concepts. Like, I have this room to hold all the trophies I didn't win.
Oh, that I should have? No, I don't mean it like that.
The context is everything, Mark.
You're right,
Morgan
you're right.
would tell you, context is everything.
No, I just mean it that to remind, it is there to remind him that although he does have the trophy room, he also has a place to remember that there are things he did not win, and therefore he must stay humble.
I like that. I really do like that. I feel like I sincerely hope that one day Morgan Freeman gets hip to what we've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years on the show. Because I feel like he's eccentric enough to where he would build the house that we designed.
The apiary, the doll hospital.
He already has the apiary. That's legit. That's
legit. True. That's true.
Like, he already has it started. So I'm saying, I just feel like he would listen to this and he'd go, an empty trophy room. Yes. And just like, I would just love to see him on a late night talk show. And they're like, I heard you have an empty trophy room. And he's like, yes, I was listening to this podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
That would be the crowning achievement of my whole life. Like,
that's
I would
true.
Stop writing, I would stop publishing, I would stop everything I'm doing. I wouldn't even have kids, because that would be my legacy.
Yeah. Well, in that case, for you and your wife's, mental and physical and happiness and health and all that, I'm going to hope Morgan Freeman doesn't catch on and build an empty trophy room, because I don't want to ruin everything else in your life.
I wouldn't literally shut it all down. It would just be nice. No, we're probably going to have kids eventually.
Yay.
It's just a frightening thought. But none of this is what we're here to talk about.
No, it's not.
Ditch Diggers. We're here to talk about the writing business things.
Yeah, and where does it get more writing businessy than the Nebula conference, which I just got back from.
Fresh off the plane from the Nebula conference, at which you were nominated for Best Freaking Novel, by the way.
That's right. I was nominated for Best Freaking Novel, by the way.
Never let it be said you were not listening to big dogs talk about the publishing yard. Or at least Murr is a big dog. I'm like the little yappy dog that's like, what are we going to do today, Spike? What are we doing? What are we doing today? Like from Looney Tunes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of the power dichotomy when the little dog gets a big book deal.
Murr's oh yeah. I don't know. I think we take turns being the yappy dog, and that's healthy.
Yeah, that is healthy.
But you wear the bowler hat better than I do.
Thank you.
But yes, tell us of the Nebula conference, Murr.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The awards were amazing. We got served dinner, and the wine was free, and there was a lot of it, which I regret a little bit.
when you get deep into the publishing industry, they give you free wine, yo.
Yeah, there was wine on the banquet table. I guess my agent's boss paid for it because he paid for the table, but for me it was free. I sat down, there's a bottle of wine there. Woohoo!
You know what? I think that's a good thing to remember. Somebody always pays for the wine. It may not be you, but somebody in this business always pays for the wine.
That's true. So
I got deep.
You did. And it's funny because I remember I've followed the Nebula Awards either on streaming video or via Twitter in the past because I've had friends who were up for awards and I wanted to follow real time what was going on. And I've heard that the person who does the monologue, the Toastmaster, can make the evening painful.
I believe that. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember.
I watched Seth MacFarlane host a bunch of shit.
I remember one prominent person, I won't say who, just in the middle of the guy's speech, just tweeted out, "Send help."
It wasn't me, was it?
No. Have you ever been to a Nebula conference?
No, but I get drugged to a lot of things and don't really pay attention.
Okay.
So
you could have been there last weekend. You wouldn't have known.
I could have been there last weekend. Nikki could have been like, get in the car, and I would have been like, yes, babe, and just got in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I do that. I do that a lot.
Okay.
I gotta ding on sincerely. I think you haven't really set the scene, Mer. Like, we need to go, like, can we start with seriously, can we start with the basics? Like, first of all, if this is your first episode and you're a novice, what the fuck is a Nebula Award? Okay. And also, where did the conference take place?
The Nebula Award is like the Oscars in that it is given by the professional organization, the members of the professional organization who create the work. So if you are a fan of science fiction, you can't vote for the Nebula Awards until you're a member of the Science Fiction Writers of America. And so it's those people nominate and vote on the Nebula Award. So it's the peer-given award.
So in that way, I'd actually argue it's more like a Writers Guild Award in that way, which is an amazing. Okay. Which is very prestigious in my opinion. I'm not trying to downgrade the award. That's what I've always equated it to.
Okay.
And that is an amazing award to receive as a writer because you're receiving it from people who presumably, I'm not going to get into semantics here, but people who know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah. And people who look at a movie and think, yeah, the director was good and the producer was good, but somebody had to write that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So but it's also a professional weekend where it is a science fiction convention, but a lot of the panels have to do specifically with not so much fandom, but more writing and business. So I heard that your agent was on almost every single panel. Not sure how he managed that. I barely saw him at all, which I'm sad about. I didn't see him. So, Dongwon, if you're listening, I'm sorry we didn't hang out more.
Dongwon is like Lord Byron. He'll be spotted in London 2 weeks after his death. Like, he's that guy. He's everywhere. Speaking of which, I have to take a small aside here because I meant to ask you this question, and I didn't get a chance to do it. So I believe it was Saturday. I'm sorry, I'm going back through my text messages as I talk. It was Friday at 4:44 p.m. Mer texted me, Dongwon said he has your kidney.
Yeah.
Dongwon being Dongwon Song, my agent. To which I replied, I mean, he already stole my heart, but whatever he needs, I guess. He did give me the biggest book deal of my life. But you never texted me back after that, and I have no idea what you were talking about.
Oh, problem is I don't remember the context, but it did come from Dongwon stealing an organ from every single one of his clients. He said he had your kidney.
Right.
And I figured I'd let you know. Just in case you wondered where it was. I don't remember the context. And I was not drunk, but this was the reception where they were going to be giving out certificates to say you got a Nebula nomination, and they would be reading a short piece of... They had like actual professional voice actors there to read a piece of each work. And so I was.
So it was like the Oscars with like a clip package and everything.
I guess so, yeah. Except it wasn't. They weren't giving out the awards. This was just a reception to.
Right. That's fancy though.
Yeah.
You read your thing.
I don't remember his name. Dude, come on! I was like,
no, I know.
I get very tunnel vision in situations like this.
I don't blame you. It was a big weekend for you. That's perfectly permissible.
I do remember that he did mention he had an organ from every single client, and that he had your kidney. I think
Don
it was
really does have this big organ.
I think it was one of those things where we started talking out something funny, and Dongwon took it a little scary. So.
Right.
Which happens a lot, I think.
As he's wont to do, but he can sell it.
Yeah.
Because he's just so damn classy.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that makes more sense. Thank you for the context.
Sure.
Of the strange text you sent me Friday.
Maybe he'll remember because he wasn't so uptight that night. He just had to take care of a bunch of uptight authors, so.
Don is never uptight, man.
No, it doesn't seem to be that way.
He doesn't have that gene.
No. But, so that's the Nebula, and I got there Friday morning, and
where was the conference?
Oh, sorry, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Fancy.
So I flew to Pittsburgh, and
Pittsburgh is the Hollywood of Pennsylvania.
It is
widely acknowledged to be.
Indeed. So, flew to Pittsburgh, got there in the morning, totally forgot that there was a panel I wanted to go to. That
what was the panel?
It was about actually putting on makeup. It
nice.
was a makeup panel for no matter the occasion, or actually no matter the sexuality, because they wanted to cover transgender people, asexual people. They just wanted to cover if you have a goal with your makeup, don't shy away from it. Let's see how we can do that. And I really wanted to see
cool.
that. Yeah.
Nikki would have loved that. My wife would have loved that.
Yeah. But I missed that because I forgot it was Friday and not Saturday. And then, I just saw people, hung out, wrote some words, got ready for the, went out to dinner with my publisher. They had a editor there and somebody for marketing that I hadn't met the editor before, so went out with 2 other Orbit authors, and then went back for the cocktail party, where it was cool to watch different people read different things, and who chose like intense little scenes to read and who chose funny scenes to read. And I think Annalee Newitz, who was nominated for Best Novel with Autonomous, she looked at me after he read her part and said, I don't remember writing that scene so sexual. I think it was Annalee. I'm sorry. My memory really is a blur for this.
It's a much better story if it's Annalee Newitz. Let's just say it. No, I never remember writing anything I've written ever. So, do you remember what they picked from 6 Weeks?
No, I picked it.
Oh, you picked it.
They wanted me to pick it. I get tired of reading the first scene. I know the first scene is very powerful, and I know it hooks people really well. So I know it's good to read it, but I get tired of reading it out loud, and so I didn't want to hear it. So I chose. There's a scene where 2 of the big alpha characters recognize each other and kind of challenge each other to expose their past crimes to the rest of the crew, and the navigator is eavesdropping on them.
Like it.
That's
a subtle choice. I like it. Not subtle. Subtle's the wrong word. Unexpected choice.
Yeah, I was just flipping
from a literary standpoint, but that is much more like an Oscar clip. I will say that because it's got conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Well, that had to be trippy.
It was, but again, I was just doing when they start talking, I walk up there, I take it, I hug Cat Rambo, because Cat Rambo's awesome, I turn around, I hold the certificate, I smile for whoever's taking pictures, and then I walk back to the crowd. Okay. Someone's reading my words, that's interesting, okay. But, I wasn't Ellen Klages, who knew at what point in her reading she wanted to walk up there. She had it planned out.
Oh, really?
She was like a rock star. So yeah, and then
it's always like twice as disheartening to see other authors who seem like they have it so together.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, but I mean, when you're talking about somebody like a respected veteran like her, it's like it was more of a. It wasn't disheartening. It was admiring. I'm like, wow,
I
you
know.
know.
I'm not saying.
Yeah.
It's always that thing of I'll never get there. You know?
Yeah. And then I got to have lunch with my mentor the next day, James Patrick Kelly, who's supported my career for the last fucking 12 years or something.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
Back during all the podcasting tracks.
Yeah.
Cons, when that was the thing.
And that was fun.
So you got to have some mentor time. That's really cool.
Yeah, got some mentor time.
How is James doing? I have not seen James since 2006.
He's doing well. He had a book come out via Audible last year. A science fiction book, and he's got some...
from Audible? Because I heard Audible was like they're buying now, right?
Yeah,
they're actually publishing now. That's interesting. Very interesting.
And then he's got some short stuff coming out. So he had some back problems for a little while, but I think he's doing a lot better now.
Immensely talented guy, very smart. I remember, because like he was hawking CDs, man. He's like, I've got a story on a CD. You want to buy it? Like that's how old school that shit is.
Yeah. Well, he was doing it over 10 years ago. Come on.
No, I'm not. It's not a criticism. It was, dude. That was like that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That was like cutting edge at the time. Like we were all like, oh, he's got a fucking CD. He's taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's like, you know, in the 80s, it was like a big cell phone in the 80s. It's like that shit was, you know, when Zach Morris had that cell phone on Saved by the Bell, you were like, oh my God, he's the coolest kid in the world. It's just interesting to look back on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And Jim is one of those people that, you know, you've got some people can do things well and some people can teach. And he's one of those people that does both. Like, I was reading about how shitty a coach Michael Jordan was because he didn't understand why the players couldn't just do what he did. It's like, this is so easy, guys. Look, I can dunk from the free throw line. What's the problem?
Just achieve the miracle of human flight. What the fuck is so difficult?
Yeah. But Jim Kelly is an amazing teacher, and, you know, he's the exception to the rule of if someone tells you how to fix your story when they critique it, don't listen to them at all. Right. He's the exception. If Jim Kelly suggests that you fix something, you should fix it. But anyway, so I just treasure his friendship and his guidance.
Mentorship is a good thing. I mean, you know, in the appropriate context and with the right person, obviously.
Yes. Oh God, what else? And then there was getting fancy, and then
did you
I had a panel
without my wife there to do your makeup, and
I did okay.
Whatever. Yeah.
If I can remember, I'll post a picture. I didn't take a lot of pictures. I'm actually not good at that. So hopefully Jim has some I can put up. And actually the professional ones might be out by now, so maybe I'll put that up. But
good call.
Yeah, and then, you know, we had our pictures and stood around very nervously and admired each other's clothing because there were some really fantastic duds there.
Saw some pictures, yeah. Don Juan posted of him with all the clients he had there were nominated. Yeah. Everybody was looking very dapper, very dapper indeed. So who all was nominated in your category, Mer? Just for the sake of posterity here on the podcast.
There's the winner, N.K. Jemisin for The Stone Sky.
Of course, juggernaut. Can't be stopped.
The third in the trilogy. The first two won the Hugo, and she'd never won a Nebula before, so this was like a big thing for her, a big deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she wasn't there, which was kind of sad because the other 6 of us were. You know?
Right.
It's like we thought the odds were good that somebody in the room would win, but
it just makes me like her more that she's never there for these things.
No, I think the joke is now that she only wins when she's not around because she's been nominated for stuff for years.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was till she stopped attending the Hugos that she started to win. Really, there's no correlation, but it's just funny. Or maybe there is correlation, no causation. Anyway, so then we had Autonomous by Annalee Newitz.
Brilliant writer, brilliant person.
Jade City by Fonda Lee.
Love Fonda.
Yeah, Fonda's awesome. Spoonbenders by Daryl Gregory. The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. And Amberlow by Lara Elena Donnelly. Lara. Patrick Rothfuss messed me up because he stumbled over the name and now I'm stumbling over it. He also didn't know my name either. He didn't know how to say it. That's how you know Patrick Rothfuss has never heard of you, when he can't say your name reading it from a piece of paper.
That's so perfect in so many ways that I'm not even going to get into right now.
Yeah. But I got distracted. I got distracted because I wanted to talk about the Toastmaster, who was the guy who played Snuffleupagus and Telly on Sesame Street.
Get the fuck out of here.
No. And he was charming and funny, and he brought puppets, and he didn't go on too long, and it was fantastic. And then Mary Robinette Kowal came up, and she did a puppet with him, and they talked to each other, and it was amazing.
I didn't know that fucking Snuffy was going to be there. What the hell? I might have actually gone.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's so cool.
So that was
the first time I'm hearing about this.
I'm sorry?
How are you not texting me this part? Like, my agent has a kidney. Like, Mr. Snuffleupagus. I don't get
he didn't have your kidney.
But I'm just like, I'm sorry. That's just insanely cool. I really wish I'd been there to see that.
Yeah, it was really what you can probably still watch it on the Sifwa YouTube channel.
I will absolutely do that. That is worth watching right there.
But yeah, and he also almost made everybody cry, talking about how he read the end of Joe Haldeman's The Forever War and learned it was something about love, and then he said he met Joe Haldeman's wife and understands why he wrote that ending. And if you've ever met Gay Haldeman, it's very obvious. And everyone went, aw, except for me. I cheered, which was awkward, but I love Gay so much. I wanted to cheer.
Yeah.
So if you heard a cheer during that aw moment, that was me.
Yeah, I did a panel with her at WorldCon, and he was up front in the front row at like 11 a.m. with a Corona. It was awesome. True story.
Yeah, I love her so much. If you ever get a chance to meet her, if you see somebody with a name tag that says Gay Haldeman, just introduce yourself and say, I've heard you're amazing and I need to meet you. I'll only say that because she will get this big smile on her face and tell you how nice it is to meet you, and she's just awesome. So yeah, the monologue, the opening speech was wonderful, and then Peter Beagle made everyone cry, apparently. That was the time I had to get up and pee because I didn't want to miss any of the awards. So I felt awkward, but I did get up in the middle of when Peter Beagle was being introduced for his Grandmaster thing to go pee. And then I came back in, and he was singing into the mic, and everyone was crying. So clearly I missed something big.
What was he singing?
I didn't recognize it. He was basically approaching his mortality and giving everybody a sort of bittersweet, we're all gonna die feeling, I think.
That's some trippy shit.
It was.
Like, that gives me, like, seriously, that gives me feelings like when I would watch, like, you know, the Sci-Fi Channel as a kid, and they talk about these award shows, and you were like, amazing things are happening there. Historic things are happening there, and I wish I was a part of it. Now I'm so jaded as an adult. I'm like, I don't want to go to that shit.
Yeah.
It just reminds you that there are, and you know, there's lots of things to be said about award shows and the politics of it and hierarchy and all this other bullshit, but there are some, like, hearing about Peter S. Beagle singing about his mortality.
Yeah. That's
amazing.
It was an amazing night because unfortunately Gardner Dozois won a Solaris Award, which I believe is like service to science fiction or service to the actual. It's a service. You've done a lot in your career. Good job, kind of thing.
Right.
Unfortunately, he was in the hospital, so his son had to accept. Sheila Williams from Asimov's also got a Solaris Award, and then there was the actual awards we didn't know people were going to get. So Get Out won, and Jordan Peele had a really nice speech. acknowledging, the science fiction writers of America and how
Did
wonderful...
he actually send something?
Oh, yeah. He sent a speech.
I didn't know. Like, people in Hollywood usually never send anything.
No, he sent a speech. It thanked all the members of SIFWA for voting for him and acknowledging how important the thing was. It was really nice.
That is bomb, man. That is so cool. I really enjoy hearing that.
Then Sam Miller won the Andre Norton Award for The Art of Starving, and basically said how awesome it was that the ballot was so queer that year, and he's right. It was a very queer ballot.
Hashtag queer ballots.
Hashtag queer ballot. There was I hadn't read everything. I'm sorry, but A Human Stain by Kelly Robson won, and she's queer. She was there with her wife. They were very adorable.
I like Kelly a lot.
And Small Changes Over Long Periods of Time by Kellen Sbarra. And that's my agency brother. He was at my table. And,
very cool.
His was a fascinating story about a trans man wanting to become a vampire. It's a lot of change kind of thing. And it just... Yeah, I'm just looking so many...
There's just so much good stuff out there right now, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got distracted because I'm looking at the Verge website and the list of everything, and they have links to some of the things, and I'm thinking the links are the winners, but the links are not the winners. I think, they got that wrong. Martha Wells won for All Systems Red, and she had an emotional speech. Basically, she had a career, and then it kind of went down in flames, and she thought about quitting and didn't do anything, and then she met her new agent, and now she's winning the Nebula for her Murderbot books. So that was good.
Totally empathized. I was going to ask, that's the Murder Robot book, right?
Yes, and it's awesome. Yeah. But the thing is, Best Novella was such a hard category because everything was... River of Teeth by Sarah Gailey. That's hippos in the Mississippi. It's a Western with hippos in the Mississippi. Passing Strange by Ellen Klages. It's a lesbian romance from, 1940s San Francisco. I think there's time travel, too. Then there were N-1 by Sarah Pinsker, which is her ultra meta story about Sarah Pinsker learning how to access all of the worlds, and then she invites all the Sarah Pinskers from all the worlds to one world to have a convention of Sarah Pinskers, and there's a murder. One Sarah Pinsker kills another Sarah Pinsker. And the murder weapon is a Nebula award. It's so meta, and it's such a fun story, and I like it. Yeah, it was awesome.
And she's really talented. I've liked her stuff for a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an amazing ballot all over, and I do not feel bad losing to Nora, because there's so much good stuff on there.
She's one of the greatest writers of her fucking generation, man.
Yeah.
No shame there at all. Just to be on the same ballot, that is the non-ironic definition of it. Is an honor to be nominated, right?
Exactly.
And it sounds like you were part of a freaking amazing weekend. Did you take any big lessons away from the weekend, Mer? Any big freelance writerly lessons that we can share on our freelance writer podcast?
Well, one, but we're going to talk about it next week.
Okay. We'll keep it chambered then.
Crap. You put me on the spot, dude. I'm sorry.
I gotta do it. I gotta do it for the sake of our audience. Or sake of our audience. I gotta make you ask yourself these questions. Although I will absolutely say, I love that we did this as an episode. I love having you take us through this kind of weekend. And I think there's value in that, just in and of itself. I will absolutely say that. Because it doesn't get more industry than this kind of thing, you know? And if you're listening and you want to be part of SFF Publishing, you know, this is the kind of stuff you want to hear about. I know it's the kind of stuff I always wanted to hear about when I felt like I was on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Not that I don't still feel like I'm on the outside looking in a lot of the time. You know, that shit never goes away. But no, it's just very cool. So even if you don't have a big catch-all lesson, Mer, it's okay, is what I'm saying.
I think it's the con that I've gone to that felt like it's got the most for authors at almost any level. I'm gonna say almost because I don't know about like the longtime veterans, but I think they go there and they see a lot of their old friends. But
Right.
I had stuff to learn. There were a lot of newbies there, and Kellen had set up this mentorship program where pro authors sign up and newbie authors sign up, and they give us an hour together just to talk. So you got to ask a pro author all sorts of questions, and a lot of people said they got a lot of good out of that. So I
That's
was
really
very happy about that. I went to the bar and bought my mentee a drink, and we just talked for an hour. So it was good. And I think I talked to a couple other people who got a lot out of it, and I think that was a brilliant move on Kellen's part to help organize that. And yeah, I just think it's got a little bit of something for everybody. Where I've heard people say, don't go to Worldcon if you're at this stage in your career because it's a waste of time or whatever. I really think this weekend had some. If you want to be a writer, this weekend has something for you.
that's a good button. You came up with a good button there, Mer, to put on the whole thing.
Thank you.
Or stinger, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting with like because I wonder that about like the real hardcore veterans, you know, the 20, 30-year
Yeah.
writers. But even them, and it's, you know, like I was talking to Kurt Busiek, the comic book writer.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized I've never had to say his name out loud before.
Yeah,
But,
I understand.
yeah, but anyway, I was talking to him at the Hugo Losers Party at Worldcon a couple of years ago, and you know, this is a guy who has written all of the comic books that ever were, like all of the big names you can possibly think of in comics. He has written those titles. And he was, and we were just talking. I asked him like if he was doing anything at Worldcon, like was he on panels? Was he? And he's like, no, I just got to come here as a fan.
Oh my
Which
God,
was,
really?
Yeah, no, because he's like, I don't really have anything to do with this. You know, I'm a comic book writer. This is largely literary focus. I just come here because I'm a fan of all these people. So like, he's just there just to hang out, which was such a weird. I never would have. Like in retrospect, it's such a simple, understandable answer, but like I just never expected to hear that out of him, you know, because you tend to have such a venerated kind of, I don't know, inflated ideal of these people, and he's just like, no, man, I'm just here because I'm a fan of stuff, and you get to meet all your favorite authors, and it's cool.
It's really funny because once I became a professional writer, I still greatly respect a lot of writers, but I'm not fangirly over them anymore.
So not.
And
I still have Kurt, man. Like,
but the thing is, I'm still fangirly over comic book writers and game writers because they are writing in a medium I don't understand. I mean, I understand it, of course, but I don't write in, and it's a skill I don't have yet. And so when I hear that like a writer from Dragon Age is following me on Twitter, I get all giddy, and I made an ass out of myself because Kurt Busiek was hugely influential to me in my superhero writing, you know, over 10 years ago. And when I met him, I just huge goober. Yeah, I think he must think I was a complete asshole, but I was such a fangirl at him. It was awful.
No, I feel the same way, man. It's like comic book writers, I still get, you know, somebody wrote Green Lantern or whatever. I'm like, dude, for real? That's like real writing. Screw all this other crap that we do with our little books over here. No, it's such an interesting thing. But yeah, bro, I was just dovetailing off what you said, but I think that's very well said about the conference and very well said about what you took away from it. And I thank you for taking us through your Nebula conference experience.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I'm still very proud of you, win or no win. I'm still extremely proud of you for being on such a heavy hitter ballot, by the way.
Thank you. I feel.
And the Hugos are yet to come. Just slip that in at the end there.
I'm 0 for 3, dude, and I'm okay losing. And that's not me putting on a brave face. I'm actually quite astonished at how okay I am. And
I'm kind of astonished at how okay you are, to be honest.
yeah, I'm serious. I'm fine. I didn't even get disappointed when they called Nora's name. I'm still going, man, I am fucking up for the biggest awards in science fiction. How did I get here? And when they don't call my name, that's fine. I don't know. Maybe I'm growing up. I don't know. But
I feel like I just sent you off to your first day of school. I'm really just like, look at her go. Look at her go.
And, they have this thing that's alternate universe speeches afterwards that you can get on stage and give the speech that either the speech you were going to give, or you can give a more funny if you'd won in an alternate universe. Sarah Pinsker's was awesome because she did her speech to all the Sarah Pinskers in the audience. It was really funny.
Nice. I like it.
And Fonda Lee got up there and just said that we are in a golden age of science fiction, and it is such an honor to be part of that. And I thought, holy shit, I'm writing in the golden age of science fiction. How cool is that? And, when you can look at the other people on the ballot and you go, yeah, me and Annalee Newitz and Fonda Lee, we're all losers. I like this club. I like this club. I like it a lot.
It's like a loser's club to be part of. So do you have anything you want to add to your Nebula experience there, Mur? I think you did a pretty robust job of covering it. But is there anything you want to put on top of it?
I want to say one thing. There is this sounds like a plug for the Patreon, and it is. But if you donate at the $5 or above level, then you get access to the Discord channel where people hang out and talk about writing, and we do word sprints. And so people were talking in there about conventions, and someone said, I don't think I'm ready to go to a convention yet. And I'm like, no, you can go to a convention at any stage in your career because conventions are mainly for fans.
Right.
Writers will talk about writing because a lot of fans want to be writers. So you can go and learn about writing. But if you just want to get a sense of what's going on in science fiction, if you want to meet some of your heroes, and don't hold back from going to a convention if you want to. I know one of our supporters was there, and that was his first convention. And I was delighted when he said he learned a lot and he had a good time. And so it's just what I want to say is, if you think that you're not ready for a convention, if you like science fiction and fantasy, you're ready for a convention. Seriously.
No, totally agree. I've been going to cons for 15 years. I started going just as a scrub fan, and I've gone as a professional. I've gone at varying points in my career, highs and lows. And you're right. There is no wrong or bad time to go to one.
Right.
And I think it's almost, honestly, I think it's better when you start off going just as a fan and you don't know anything or know. I don't know. There's an innocence to it. Then before you get mired in all the crap that we talk about on this podcast so often.
Going in without expectation can let you stumble into opportunities that you wouldn't have expected. You don't think, oh my God, there's a famous writer. I'm nervous to talk to them. You think, there's a guy at the bar. He's having an interesting drink. I'm going to ask him, what is that? Does it taste good? Should I get one? Hi, I'm Mur. And then you find out, oh, you're that famous writer. Well, cool. Nice to meet you. And you're already talking to them. There was somebody there that I was nervous to talk to. She was not a writer. She was connected to another industry. And it took me all weekend to introduce myself. It was embarrassing. Right. But I did. I finally did. But I think if you go in without expectation, then you could just stumble into all sorts of cool stuff. Because once you know what's going on, then self-doubt creeps in. It's like, oh, I don't know if that person's going to like me, so maybe I shouldn't go up and say hi or sit next to them at the bar or whatever.
Many things creep in.
Yes.
Which I guess could be another t-shirt.
It's not as good as the one we come up with next week. In the future.
In the future that hasn't happened yet.
Just for context, I had something on my mind that I thought was a 20-minute ditch, or 20 minutes, as it should be called for short now.
20 minutes.
And so we recorded that first, and you'll hear that next week.
And I had a good quote that I wanted to make into a T-shirt, but you
Yeah.
haven't. Again, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, good. No, totally agree with all that, Mern. Totally encourage everybody to get out there and mix it up.
All right.
So we're ready to go to questions?
Yes. I currently am off Twitter until I finish my current project, so that's Matt is on his own here. I don't know what's going on or what the latest drama is. I am perfectly pure.
It's just the same drama repackaged every day. That's what I've learned. But in terms of Ditch Diggers questions, we'll go to the hashtag. That's what we do.
Hashtag ditch diggers.
Hashtag Ditch Diggers. That's the way to get your question read on the show. If you're on the Twitters, use the goddamn Twitters, people.
Use the goddamn Twitter, unless you have a deadline and it's wasting a lot of your time.
Yeah, that's accurate. Bree Ann Miller asks, you have your audio rights. What now? Is this a thing you really want to do if you weren't a multi-talented Mighty Mur who narrates her own? Are there audio-only publishers? I can find a lot on self-publishing, but can't get through the weeds. Hashtag Ditch Diggers. So this is a question about audio rights to your fiction and what should you do with them. Mur, what should you do with them?
Well, Matt and I both got started giving away our work via podcast. That was...
Just giving it away on the street.
Yeah. That was many years ago, though, and so when people ask me for advice, I usually say get a time machine and go back to then when there wasn't a whole bunch of content. Because I don't know what to do these days. But, I built an audience by giving away my stuff, and so when my stuff came for sale, a lot of my more loyal fans followed me into the, oh, we have to pay for this. Okay, world. You can get if you want to go technical, you can get a audio setup for fairly cheap, maybe $100 or so. And I know that's not cheap, but for an audio setup, it's pretty cheap. And you can record your own. You can either give it away, or I believe Audible still has a self-publishing route, doesn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so you can self-publish via Audible. If you don't want to narrate yourself, you can also find a narrator on Audible and either pay them a flat fee or pay them a royalty based on your sales. It's their choice, but or maybe it's your choice. Anyway, it's one of the choices. And so those are two things that you can do if you actually want to sell the rights. I don't know how you go about doing that.
I don't really
but
think it's a thing, is it?
well, no, Audible. Like I said, James Patrick
Audible,
Kelly
yeah.
published his book on Audible, so I'm not sure who's acquiring there. Maybe we can look into that and talk about that in the future.
Possibly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat you are at this point, where I feel old and out of date, and I have no idea where to start anymore with something like that.
Yeah.
I do believe in, as we talk about all the time, diversifying your revenue streams, and I think a good bit of author publishing is good for everybody. So
Yeah.
if you have audio rights to something and you want to put it together and release it as a little audio book, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's an app called Anchor. Have you heard of Anchor, Mer?
I have. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, though. Have you?
I have been playing around with it a little. It's very interesting. It kind of streamlines and makes the whole podcasting, audio thing easy. And I feel like it's a space that it's at that point where it can either do nothing, or it could be a place to it could be like a new Vine, where it's just a new space for people to blow up. Not making Vines, but that might be a place to try to do some audio fiction and build a new platform and develop a new audience. That will also save you from having to get the costly audio setup, because part of the functionality of it is you do a lot of the shit just kind of from your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe check out Anchor, check out stuff like that. See what's out there for audio. You need to find the new thing. That would obviously be my advice.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah. We don't know what the new thing is, so you need to find the new thing. And I'm sure there are many new things out there. Anchor is just one I happen to be aware of that I think is interesting. But if that's out there, then a lot of stuff is out there. And that's really the people who blow up online doing content stuff. It's really the people who get into a space first and kind of make it their own, I think.
Yeah.
Or, You
I
know.
mean, you got to have quality, but once you...
Well, yeah, obviously.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, maybe I'm just defending myself, saying, you and I worked hard, damn it. It's not just that, but yeah.
It's a combination of all those things. I mean, I always follow from the premise that the content has to be good. Well, shit, man. I mean, even that's not true a lot of the time. I'd like it to be true, but it's not. Like, it's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
I'll take a really hard, shameless worker over a super talented introvert in terms of commercial success any day. Because that's the world we live in. It's not fair, but it is what it is. I would like you to make the content good if you're listening to this. I would like you to not forsake quality for the sake of flash and marketing. But it's I think it's intellectually dishonest to pretend that it has to be amazing. You have an infinitely better shot, I do believe, if the content is amazing. You should strive to make great content. But in terms of what to do with those audio rights, that would be my advice. I'd look for the new thing, man. I'd look for something new. I'd look for something that not a lot of people have blown up doing yet or that aren't trying yet, and I'd give it a shot. Build a new platform for yourself. It's a good thing to do. So that's my advice in a slightly racist Italian accent for no reason. I was doing a Mario impression, so it's not racist. That's what I just decided. I'm retconning that.
Okay. You just did a Michael Scott, not racist, because that's how they sound on TV.
Because that's how they sound on TV. This isn't really a question, but I'm going to read it anyway. The Faldor tweeted at me with the hashtag, you say deadlines are the fire in which we burn, but I rather believe that deadlines are a companion who goes with us on the journey and reminds us to cherish every moment because they'll never come again. Again, not a question. It's also just picking up on my Star Trek Generations reference, which is what all that was.
I kind of wish you could see my face right now.
I know. That's kind of why I wanted to do it, just to get that reaction out of you. But I don't know. The reason I read that is because I don't remember what the gentleman is referring to, but I'm sure I did say that at some point. Do you find deadlines can be that, Mer? Do you feel they can be a comforting, helpful companion helping you along in what you do? Or do you
like a jockey with a crop hitting my ass on we're going down the what the hell is it called? Stretch. Yeah. All right. Sure. As much as the horse loves the jockey, sure. Whipping, my deadline is next week, so the crop's coming down. I'm running harder. I love that jockey.
This is probably a bad time to bring this up for you.
Yeah.
Because you're so close to the deadline.
Yeah, I got a deadline next. I guess in terms of this, if I actually get this up on Monday, which is the goal, my deadline is in 3 days.
That's an eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think every person who has deadlines has a love-hate relationship with them.
Yeah, because a lot of people find it's hard to get started. It's hard to finish something without the heat of the deadline.
Right.
Your horse can just stop and graze and no one's going to care.
It's the medicine no one wants to take,
Yeah.
Plus, Star Trek Generations was not a great movie. I will admit that outright.
Yeah.
I think Malcolm McDowell was an entirely underrated Star Trek villain, though. I think he had the misfortune of being in a subpar Star Trek movie. Mm-hmm. But he himself, because he's the one who said that line, and I thought he was really good in that. This has nothing to do with the question. It's just now I'm thinking about Star Trek movies.
Sure.
I'm also really excited because Friday, The Toys That Made Us is coming back to Netflix.
Okay.
And one of the episodes they're doing is Star Trek toys.
Nice.
Now I've really veered off the subject.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's those are Twitter questions, and those and that's where we'll end that. Do we have any email questions you want to throw in, more, or are we ready to wrap things up?
I think we should probably do email next time. Let me check.
Yeah. I think we should probably do email next time. We're coming up on the hour here. I think it's a good time to end things. I'm trying to be more stringent about that.
I do want to bring up that Alex wrote, I'm a visually impaired writer that just finished my first draft. Good job, Alex.
Congrats.
Could you get someone with a similar disability on the show to discuss about participating in these conventions, book signings, and what accommodations, if any, to expect? We've had Elsa on, but that was talking about sensitivity readers and stuff. And I spoke with her this past weekend, and I said, we have a visually impaired listener who wants to talk about conventions, and she says sure. So we'd like to bring Alex, we're going to be bringing Elsa back on in the future, hopefully soon, to talk about that.
I always enjoy having Elsa on the show.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that, and I think that's pretty much it for now. If we haven't gotten to your question, we'll get to it next week, but both Matt and I are kind of on a tight schedule today. I'm sorry about that. But, we'll get to, we're so far we're doing okay with this new recording thing, so here we go. We will talk to you next week with the 20-minute ditch, and then in 2 weeks we'll have another long episode. Yay!
Woo!
Shilling! If you want to read a multiple award-nominated book, check out Six Wakes, which is Clone Murders, Space. And
not Delis in Space.
Not Delis in Space. I still want to write a Deli in Space book, just for you, man. There's also a book called I Should Be Writing, which is about writing. Figure that out. And you can see more about me and my projects at merverse.com. And if you want to ask a question, mail me at mightymur@gmail.com and put Ditch Diggers in the subject line. I lost my list of everything I'm supposed to be saying at the end of an episode, so you go, Matt.
You can find me online on Twitter at Matt F. Wallace. And also, please check out my YouTube channel, Angry Writer. It's where I post my weekly vlog. We have a lot of fun over there. It's something I'm trying to build up. Would appreciate it if you'd check that out. Consider subscribing. And remember to click the bell so you get notifications. That's apparently become a big deal on YouTube.
Click the bell.
Click the bell. Subscribe and click the bell.
Okay.
It sounds sexual the more you say it, but it's not at all. Books. I have a long-running series that I just wrapped up called Sin du Jour. The final book, Taste of Wrath, just came out in April. If you haven't gotten hip to that, you should go back and check it out. Start with book 1, Envy of Angels. There's 7 of them. They're novellas, so they're shorter books, but they are books. It's a very fun, foodie, dark, messed up series that I wrote that a lot of people seem to enjoy. And you might enjoy it too, so go check that out. If you're a fan of wrestling, specifically Lucha Libre, Rencor, Life in Grudge City is my Lucha Buddy Cop novella that's out now from Parts Unknown. You can find that on Amazon in print and paperback form. And those are all things you could buy to help us keep the lights on around here, and I'd appreciate that. Yes. Is Hugo voting going on, Mer? I've lost track of all of this.
Yes, Hugo voting is going on.
And we're nominated for a Hugo Award. In fact, you're nominated for like fucking 3 of them.
Yes, 3. We are nominated for Best Fan Cast. Please consider us in your nominations. I say that politely. Matt will obviously shill harder. You do words. I do words. I write words. Saying the words. Well, actually, I'm also supposed to be doing that professionally. But podcast nomination.
Literally getting paid to do that right now.
So
as we speak.
Also, I'm nominated for Best Novel, and the magazine I co-edit, Escape Pod, is also up. So it's very exciting.
Basically, go vote for everything Murr is involved in. Just look for Murr's name and then vote for that thing on the ballot.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Murr.
You can support us at patreon.com/mightymurr.
Ditch Diggers!
Theme song by Devo Spice. DevoSpice.com.